There's a lot of important issues that is happening in Jamaica, but it's happening so subtle that a lot of us really don't notice, or sometimes if we notice, we really don't take it serious. And that is one of the reasons why we're here. Watch what they do and what they say, because our existence is always the one that is challenged and the one that is in question, not those of our elected leaders or the politicians or the government of the day. And we really need to start to take our existence serious in Jamaica. I cannot preach this anymore, you know, even though I know that I'll never stop talking about it, because we are the people, if we don't try to do what we need to do to move the needle for Jamaicans, neither the PMP nor the JLP will ever find themselves in a position to move that needle in such a way that Jamaicans can talk about, boast about, brag about, just, or have a better quality of life. Simple as that. Live a better quality of life. I'm saying that because I saw a publication. A couple of things I want to talk about quickly, because I won't be long on this video. Just some concern that I came up with. Saw a publication in the Jamaica Gleaner of Sunday the 9th of August. Jamalco took themselves off the grid. Now, what is the grid? The grid here is the JPS energy supply. That's our national grid in Jamaica. But Jamalco took themselves off the grid because they have created for themselves their own energy plant, which, as published, will help them to save 28 million US dollars per year. Now let us think about the conversion from 28 million to US dollars to Jamaican currency. Now when that happens, now that has happened, and Jamalco alone, one entity, is moving 28 million US dollar from the coffers of JPS. What's going to happen to the normal average household user in the country? Listen this carefully. Remember, you hear this first on this platform. Look out. An increase is coming. Because government has to retrieve that money from somewhere. That money that they lost, they have to retrieve it from somewhere. So I'm sure that an increased rate in electrical usage at watt hour is coming. And it's going to come very soon. Very, very soon. Now, issues like these are the issues I'd love to hear Jamaicans focusing on a lot more, or to see Jamaicans place a greater emphasis on these things and greater focus. And the reason for that is very simple and staring us in our face, or in our faces. Losing this amount of money to Jamalco, the government has to find a way to retrieve that money. If not all of it, then a greater portion of it. Anywhere from a good 75% of that money. They have to find a way to retrieve it. And the only way to retrieve that is through an increase in electricity rate, in energy rate, electricity rate via JPS. Secondly, how does that decision and that move by Jamalco impacts the loan payment agreement with JPS? The loan that JPS got from the government, the repayment agreement. How does that decision affect that loan repayment? Because I'm quite sure that considering giving JPS a loan, the government and JPS would have done their feasibility study to look at income. Look at their customer base. How many customers we have on the grid? See how much money we are taking in. So we can afford to loan JPS X amount of money and have them repay us that money over a period of time. But now we lose a very, very important client, Jamalco. Where does that leave the government? Where does that leave JPS? But most of all, how will this move by Jamalco affect consumers who are still household consumers and other smaller operations, business operation, or smaller business entities that is still on the JPS grid? How will this decision affect them? One way, an increase in the rate, because JPS has to make back that money. JPS has a loan to pay back. Government has to get back their money from JPS. The downside, not that a downside, there's really not a downside to it, but in reality, a lot of people say, why did the government, what can the government do to have Jamalco, partially stay on the grid or whatever? But there's nothing the government can do, because they don't want to lose Jamalco right now. If the government asks Jamalco to stay on the grid for even 25% or 35% of their energy usage, Jamalco can call their bluff easily. They can call the government's bluff. And there's nothing the government wants more than to lose Jamalco. When I say lose Jamalco, for Jamalco to close down. So I know I'm not going to hear anything from the government on that. And we're not going to hear anything as citizens from the government. How do you plan to retrieve that money? You're going to hear some explanation about the war in Iran and the cost of oil and all of these crop. You're going to hear. Which, if that's the reason for increasing the rate, to some extent it is true. The oil prices across the world is going up. Right? The US stock market has declined by 5% because of that the cost of oil increasing and the war that's going on in Iran. So there's some truth to what the excuse, if the government quote that excuse, there's some truth to it. But they cannot strangle Jamalco. Remember the bauxite levy situation in 72, Michael Manley. They were ripping off the backside of Jamaica, and he tried to, Jamaica, the different entity, yes, but the scenario is similar in nature. Michael Manley could do what he did in his time, but this government can't put any levy on Jamaica, or ask them or force them to stay on the grid for even 35% of their energy needs from JPS. These are the things I talk about, ladies and gentlemen. As simple as it may seem, it's not an alarming headline in the Daily Gleaner, but it's its implication is broad. And when I say broad, I mean it, the implication, the negative implication coming out of this can be as broad-based, or will be as broad-based as the entire community of Jamaica. From Portland Point to Negril Point. Everything and every entity and every household users, consumers on the JPS grid can be severely affected. I see some drastic increase in the cost of the electricity usage. Ladies and gentlemen, I would just want to use the opportunity to point that out. Welcome again to the Lennie Robbins YouTube channel. We'll continue to watch what government do. We'll continue to watch what they say. We'll continue to watch what is happening in Jamaica and all of that. Quickly, I just want to add before I close, I also saw something on YouTube. Gentlemen, somebody put up a question. Should Jamaica go republic and all of these things? But there's a lot of questions that answers to be answered before we can even decide it officially to go republic. Right now, if you throw it out there to the people, they'll say yes, go republic, get rid of the monarch. But that decision has to be an informed one, which requires government to really educate the people of the nation as to what needs to be done. What's the process is like in terms of the constitution? What changes does that? Will there be any changes to our constitution? Should we go republic? Is what new laws will be put in place when we become a republic? How will that change Jamaica, the whole political landscape of Jamaica? Right? How will the people benefit from that? What is laid out there to explain to us the benefits of becoming a republic? And why now, more than ever, it would be more important to shed the monarch? But the most important question for me on that scenario for government to answer would be, why did we not shed that monarch? Cut that monarchical umbilical cord long ago when we talk about independence. And I must reiterate this point because I've said it in a previous video. I still don't believe that we were given independence. All we got from our colonial masters was the right or the autonomy to self-govern ourselves, nothing more. This is why David Core requested that the power be vested exactly where he said it should be. Because he knows, as a nation, we are not truly independent. Ladies and gentlemen, if you get this far in the video, I don't know. I don't know if I'm blabbering stupidity or foolishness or misinformation, but I know this information will make sense to some people. It may not make sense to some, but listen, if you get this far in the video, I'm going to ask you to like and share because we want to continue to grow. We have all intention of growing this channel. And like, share, leave a comment. And remember, we appreciate all our growing, our new subscribers. And we appreciate dearly and embrace all our subscribers, the initial subscribers, and also our new subscribers. Each time I talk about subscribers, I have to shout out to Jamaica Young Police brethren. Chris, bless up. You know where I started and everything. You understand? So, enough love to you, enough respect. Keep doing your thing, my brother. I think we have the same dream, but we're just walking different avenues to the result of that, our dream. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Lennie Robbins YouTube channel, Know Your Politics. Let's come together to create a better understanding for each other by watching what our politicians do and what they say. We must wake up to this reality. It's important. Our existence is getting squeezed. It's getting tighter. The window of opportunity is getting tighter, smaller, and scarcer by the year. Each year, it's getting less. You understand? So let us wake up and lend our voice, or our voices, to our own governance and help to direct the part and decisions of government, the very people we elect, to administrate on our public policy. And I'm making this appeal because that's the area of my expertise, public administration. It is important, never overlooked it. So let us all come together to do this and work on creating a better Jamaica. Whether you're PMP or JLP, doesn't matter. As long as Jamaica gets better, I know everyone will rejoice. So let us do it together. Ladies and gentlemen, blessed love to you all. Peace, Jamaica.